Hi guys, welcome to my new house. I literally just moved in a few days ago, so I'm still in the process of unpacking and settling down. For those of you who watched my previous video on how to select the right resale condo, you might have already guessed that I bought a unit at Thomson Impressions, which is actually just across the road from Thomson Reserve. Come, let me show you the view from my balcony. You see the hoarding over there? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the most anticipated launch in 2026 for you. By now, you would have probably seen at least 10 other videos telling you why Thomson Reserve is the holy grail of new launches, and I'm sure many of you can't wait to put your money into this project. Honestly, it does check a lot of boxes, and that's why I've been asking my friends and family to get ready for this one since the end of last year. But as we get closer and closer to the launch in October, I'm starting to have a few serious concerns that I notice almost no one is talking about. As a current resident at Thomson Impressions and someone who is also looking to invest in a second unit at Thomson Reserve, let me walk you through 3 hidden pitfalls that I think buyers genuinely need to be aware of before signing on the dotted line. And if you're not deterred by these pitfalls, be sure to stay till the end for my unit selection strategies because it's really important. Alright, let's get into it. By the way, videos like this are a lot harder to make because I'm essentially going against the grain of what most other people are saying. So if you're looking for an honest and objective opinion that no other agents will tell you, I would kindly appreciate a quick like and subscribe. It will really motivate me to continue doing more great videos for you. Thank you so much, and back to the video. Here's the first and biggest pitfall about Thomson Reserve. It is too perfect for its own good. Doorstep to Upper Thomson MRT, 1 km to iThom, right opposite Thomson Plaza, short walk to all the eateries along the shop houses, blue chip developers, huge plot of land for nice landscaping and family-friendly facilities, proximity to nature and great views from most stacks. We've got a top-tier project that checks every single box. Almost every client that I've met in the last few months are telling me they want to get a piece of Thomson Reserve. Multiply this by a few thousands because I'm hearing the same story from countless other agents. So, if this project is so popular, what can potentially go wrong? My concern is if a project is so overhyped, it tends to attract lots of investors. This group of buyers usually already have an existing house for own stay, but they have a spare name to purchase an investment property. For example, it could be a couple that has decoupled from their existing property, or parents looking to buy under their kids' name, or first-time buyers that are still staying with their parents with no intention of moving out, but looking to buy purely with an investment mindset. Trust me, I know many of you watching this video falls exactly into one of these profiles. And most of these investors are chasing a quick flip rather than owner-occupiers who are in it for the long term. Why do I say that? Let's look at 𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗀𝗀 Residence, which is not too far away. Extremely popular launch back in 2022, massively hyped up as well, 98% sold on launch day. 4 years later, I have more than 160 listings in the market right now out of 372 units. That's almost 50% of investors looking to make a quick flip but having difficulty to exit due to the sheer supply. Likewise for Reserve Residences, best performing launch with the highest number and percentage of units sold in 2023, and we already have close to 100 units on sale even before it obtained TOP. So what happens when there's such a huge number of units on sale at the same time? More competition, price adjustment, and eventually a drop in transacted prices. Generally, an investor-heavy development tends to have weaker price stability down the road, especially in the first 2 years after TOP. Is this a deal breaker? My answer is yes, if you don't have the holding power to sustain your monthly mortgage under a stress test scenario with 4% interest rate and 0 rental income. Assuming you're buying a 2 million property and taking the max 75% loan with a 25-year loan tenure, at 4% interest rate, your full mortgage after TOP will eventually increase to $7,918 per month. However, if you can stomach this negative cash flow for 1 year without panicking and fire selling your house, and if you have a slightly longer holding period of 5 to 8 years, then I welcome you to join me in securing a unit here. That's because the oversupply is temporary, but the organic demand in the area is real and proven. In short, don't blindly commit just because of greed and FOMO. Do reach out to me on WhatsApp at 94515625 if you need a more detailed financial assessment before the purchase. Coming to the second potential pitfall, Thomson Reserve sits next to Upper Thomson MRT, just a mere 3 stops from the Lentor estate, which has seen an absolutely relentless wave of new launches in the past few years. We are talking a total of 8 land plots consisting more than 4,000 units within one precinct in under 4 years. Some of you might be thinking, isn't the take-up rate for these Lentor launches pretty strong? And in fact, most of them are close to fully sold except for Lentor Gardens Residences, which recently launched in July. Well, a strong take-up rate during launch doesn't necessarily translate to organic demand after TOP. Let's look at the number of listings in the market at Lentor Modern, which supposedly has an advantage given it's an integrated development and first mover in the region. 165 listings out of the total of 605 units, with only 50 sub-sale transactions so far. This translates to a very low demand ratio of 30% and a very high supply ratio of 27%, failing miserably under my IPA evaluation framework. And that is only for one development. When the other 7 plots start to obtain TOP one after another, it's honestly going to be quite scary. The question is, will this oversupply spill over to Thomson Reserve? My answer is hopefully not. That's because Thomson is not the same as Lentor. Just like how Bishan is different from Khatib, Woodleigh is different from Hougang, and Eunos is different from Tanah Merah, all of them being 3 MRT stops away from each other. Take 𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗶𝗲 for example. It is a massive development with 1,399 units right opposite Eunos MRT, and at the same time, it is competing with 8 other developments in Tanah Merah, strikingly similar to our Thomson versus Lentor scenario. Despite the competition from Tanah Merah, 𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗶𝗲 has been one of the most profitable condos in recent years with a 35% growth so far. This is not surprising given that buyers will always have the aspiration to gravitate towards something more central for its convenience and accessibility. This gives us comfort that Thomson Reserve will be able to stand its ground and attract buyers from the north and northeast who are looking to upgrade to a more desirable location that is close to MRT, amenities, nature, and good schools at the same time. These are unique characteristics of Thomson that Lentor will never be able to offer. In addition, do you know Bukit Timah, Newton and Novena are actually just a short 15 minutes drive away? So I reckon a location like Thomson will also attract affluent buyers from these regions who are unlikely to consider Lentor to begin with. In short, I believe Thomson Reserve will be able to fend off the oversupply issue, but also provided its pricing makes sense, which brings me to my last point. Before that, I hope you have found the above information useful so far. A number of my YouTube viewers actually prefer to reach out to me in person as they are able to get more real-time and customized solutions based on their requirements. So if you also have burning questions, don't be shy, feel free to contact me on WhatsApp at 94515625 and I'll be happy to advise further. Alright, back to the video. Coming to the third and equally concerning pitfall, pricing. Despite some misleading advertisements quoting 24 to 2006 PSF, I can safely tell you that it's almost impossible. Given the hype and massive demand leading up to the preview, I believe the developer is expected to launch at an average price of around 2,800 PSF instead. It's not the first time we are seeing this kind of price range in the RCR. Last year, Penrith at Queenstown and the 𝘃𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗃 at Toa Payoh also launched at similar price points. In fact, 𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗃𝗃 in the OCR already launched at an average price of 2,886 PSF this year. So what seems to be the concern? Well, if I enter at 2008 PSF, and if I want to make a 20% gain 5 years down the road, I'll need to exit at 3,360 PSF. Does this number sound feasible and realistic to you? For River Valley, probably yes, but for Upper Thomson, honestly, I can't visualize that yet. And I don't think anybody can promise that you can confirm sell at this price in 5 years. It will eventually come, I'm just not sure how long it will take. So rather than speculating what will the future price be, I think a more sensible way is to evaluate whether an entry price of 2,800 PSF makes sense given the current prices of the surrounding neighbours. Using our price gap analysis for the 3 bidders, let's look at how these compare versus the average prices of the surrounding developments like Tram Park, Jadescape, Thomson Impressions, Thomson 3 and etc. As you will know by now, for the non-harmonized projects, I'll need to adjust their average price upwards by 6% to take into account the harmonization effect. After which, I calculated what is Thomson Reserve's price premium and age gap versus these other developments. Finally, the last column will show you what is Thomson Reserve's premium for every 1 year difference in age. and you can see it has an average premium of only 34 PSF per year, which is considered pretty low given the typical benchmark of 40 to 50 PSF per year. This means that even at 2,800 PSF, Thomson Reserve seems to be fairly priced. So while I can't visualize when I'll be able to exit at 3,300 PSF, I can at least confidently say that 2008 PSF for 𝘃𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗀 is indeed reasonable. However, the considerations will be very different for the 2, 4 and 5 𝗵𝗱𝗲s. If you'd like to know my analysis and walkaway price for the various unit types, you know the drill, just drop me a WhatsApp at 94515625. Congratulations for making it so far. Since you are not deterred by these pitfalls, let me show you a glimpse of my unit selection strategy for Thomson Reserve. And do you know why the right unit selection is so important, in particular for this development? That's because this project is so huge and complicated. There's a total of 6 different facings, from the nature reserve view, to landed facing, to 𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗃𝗃 Reservoir, 𝗵𝗵𝗱 Monastery, directly at Thomson Tree, and internally towards each other. Each facing has its own pros and cons, which I have summarized here. For seasoned investors, you will know that developers price different facings based on how premium they are. So we can expect up to 6 tiers of pricing. My guess is the cheapest tier will be facing towards Thomson Tree because of the obstructed view, and the most expensive tier might be the 𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗃𝗃 Reservoir facing, given that it has unblocked views, no afternoon sun, and closest to the MRT. In between, there's 4 other price tiers. If future profitability is important to you, we will need to evaluate whether the premium that the developer charges for the better stacks is reasonable or overpriced. If the price difference is significant, you might be better off going for the not-so-premium facings. The thing is, you will only know the actual prices on the booking day itself. Within less than 30 minutes, you need to compare the pricings across different stacks and different floor levels. And that's why it's very important to go in with a proper game plan and with someone who is experienced enough to analyze clearly under pressure. This is an example of an analysis based on the different price scenarios which I do out for my clients even before the booking day, so that we can be well prepared on the actual day itself. If you'd like to find out and discuss more about the strategies I have for unit selection, feel free to reach out to me at 94515625 as always. All in all, should the above pitfalls stop you from buying Thomson Reserve? My answer is they are definitely not deal breakers on their own, but you still have to manage them very carefully. A mid to long-term holding power is necessary to help you tide through the initial oversupply from flippers and competition from Lentor. On top of that, a reasonable entry price with the right unit selection strategies will allow you to maximize your profits during your exit. If you'd like my honest opinion on whether Thomson Reserve is really suitable for you, or my analysis on the walkaway price and unit selection, feel free to reach out to me at 94515625 and I'll be happy to advise further. Once again, I'm Sean and I'll see you soon.